Welcome back to Get Into It with Tammy Roman, Soulmates. Listen, let me tell you something. I don't think you really understand what's about to happen. My next guest has entertained and educated us with memorable roles in Eve's Bayou, the Josephine Baker story, and most recently, Greenleaf. I am so excited to have her here with us today. Please welcome Hollywood legend, Lynn Whitfield. Hi, Lynn.
Hi, how are you?
Oh my gosh, I'm so excited that you're here. It's beautiful, beautiful, beautiful.
Thank you.
You know, Mother's Day was last week, and I know that you are very close with your daughter, Grace.
Yeah.
Did you get to celebrate Mother's Day with her?
Oh, I did. We had a ball. She outdid herself. So Mother's Day, Grace says that a very traumatic thing happened when she was like about 14, and my niece was we were living in New York, and so we had Mother's Day. It was Mother's Day, and they came into my room at in the morning and had a chocolate cake with Happy Mother's Day written on it. You know, the kind that you get for birthdays.
Yes.
And I don't know. I try to make the most of, celebrating people. And I looked at them and I said, what is this?
They were like, well, Mom, it's the thought.
I know. Well, Aunt Lynn, well, Mom, they were like, going to, oh my God. I said, there was no, and she said, it's the thought. I said, there was no thought put into this,
Oh, my God.
No, but so after that, and every Mother's Day after that, and I do the same thing for her birthday. We just do that for each other. Mm-hmm. So this year I flew down to New Orleans, and she had arranged a boat to go out on Lake Pontchartrain. Mm-hmm. And like 4 of my friends, and she had champagne and she had food and she had all that, and it was just like the wind in our hair. So it was a really good one, particularly after COVID, just to be out on the water. And so she really outdoes herself every year with planning stuff. So it was a great Mother's Day.
So you taught her early, and so now she has to live up to the every year from the year before.
Well, no, it can be very simple, because flip side, I don't like get into the birthday thing too much. Like, okay, who's counting? I don't know. And she will try to plan these birthdays. I'm like, Grace, please don't do it. Because for me, it could be a great meal, or something she made with her hands, or it's really, putting energy and love into somebody. That's all celebrating them is, right? Like really pumping through. I love you. This is how, something to keep forever. I have a Mother's Day card that Grace made for me when she was 12 in storage. It's like this big. I'll never get rid of it. So yeah, it's a kind of slippery slope of how you really put energy into loving somebody.
I'm with you on that one, because I with my daughters, I have 2, one's 26 and one's 24. I'm the same way. It's like, okay, if we go out to eat, fine, but don't do like parties and all that stuff, because then I got to sit around and smile.
Oh my God. And who knows if you feel like seeing some of those people that So it's like, please do not make big like a big thing where it's a whole lot of other energies involved in the celebration, unless we signed off on it, girl.
Yes. Now, if it's people that I know and love, that's a different moment, but all that other extra stuff, I am not.
I know.
Yeah. So let me ask you, I want to tell you a funny story really quickly. The tail end of 2016 going into 2017, I was looking for a new agent. And I came across this young guy. When I say the name, you'll remember him. But his thing was, when he got through his roster and he got to your name, I said, okay, I want to have you represent me, because I have to meet Lynn Whitfield. Like my dream was to work, like there's certain people, like as an actor, that it's like, oh, I would love to work with Felicia Rashad. I would love to work with Viola Davis. And you were on my list of like, I would love to work with Lynn Whitfield.
Look, your own show got us together. So there you go.
This is true. So if you think I won't slide in your DMs, you're highly mistaken.
Oh, yes. I'll be looking for you.
So I want to get into tonight's topic, celebrating the power of sisterhood. Now, I wanted to ask you specifically, how does it feel to have played the roles of such iconic women throughout your career? I mean, the list is long of these characters that we as a generation all know and love, and generations now are familiar with you through Greenleaf. And it's like, y'all don't know the half of what this was to the culture. So, like, how does that feel to just know you're a part of that particular legacy in terms of Black?
It's really gratifying for me, because when I was a young girl in Baton Rouge, I knew that I wanted to act when I was like 5, somewhere between 5 and 8, I'm not sure. But what I also knew was that, and why I wanted to do it, was I saw all these classic performances, classic performances by Cicely Tyson and Sounder, or Ruby Dee and the Jackie Robinson story, or Betty Davis and All About Eve, and Audrey Hepburn and Breakfast at Tips. So all of that, and none of those stories or characters are like disposable. It's like people want to keep them. They want to revisit the story, and play it again. And so I just always wanted to do that. And I think, at this point, for how far I've gone now, because there's a lot more to go, as I tell, I'm not going anywhere. So I'm glad, you may be resting up on my shoulders, but hold on, don't fall off, because I'm not done. I'm still moving forward. So up till now, I think I've been able to wrangle several of those that people want to revisit, and that for me is like, I just thank God for that, because, honey, I'm like a jealous girlfriend. Don't be throwing me out to pasture and not coming back and checking on me.
Every person throwing you out, let me tell you, and people, and the roles that you played, like, I understand what you're saying. Like, there are certain things that it's like, well, let's revisit that. We remake that. We recreate it for the new gen. Don't touch a Lynn Whitfield role.
No, but on the contrary, I would love to see the next Josephine Baker story. They're about to do one. I want to see another angle. It's just that for what I did, people still want to go back and watch that. But I am all for moving forward, because I couldn't play Josephine now at 17 to 76 the way I did. I was the perfect age to do that. But I'm all for seeing other interpretations and all of that. Just don't throw mine away. Just remember the original.
And I respect that, and I love that humility. But I'm gonna go on record as saying that when it has been done extremely well, unless you're telling a different side, right? And I feel like yours spoke to so much of her life that it's like, well, what are y'all gonna tell us that Lynn didn't already, for instance, like the Billie Holiday story, right? Like, I felt like, please don't give me another Billie Holiday, because Diana Ross did it well in Lady Sings the Blues. But then you have Lee Daniels come with the other side of that story.
Yes.
It makes sense. But don't give me the exact same story that I already saw. So unless they're going to do that, it's like, don't touch it. I mean, Lynn did it well, and it's just like a Thin Line remake. I said, Pete, no. We want certain things. We just want those classics to live.
They just probably have to do, like Martin and I for where we are now.
Yeah.
But, because I think that would be really hard for people to get into. Though I am so excited, because every Halloween, there's like 3 or 4 people who will recreate the poster, and I'm like, ooh, cleavage, yes. Oh, it's still there. Okay. I'm not so worried. But that would be hard to redo. Eve's Bayou is just what it is. But we're looking backward to the history. I'm very pleased with a lot of it, but I'm very antsy for the future
I was
and
asking
breaking some new, I want to do,
diversity,
I don't want y'all to get bored and I don't want to be bored. So
right?
I want to, do some other things. So I'm just, trying to keep it all together so I can do it. Who knows? Maybe there's, a few more love scenes and a
Yes.
few more, romances of a certain age and,
Do you think
all
there's
kinds of things.
enough diversity in Hollywood as it pertains to the roles than before? Because I know when you started your career, there were limited amounts of roles for African
Yeah,
American women.
I think that they're doing a great job. I mean, look at, Black Panther and everything that Shonda Rhimes has been able to accomplish. And there's, more to be had, because there's so many women to play in the world. There's so many specifics of humanity and so many genres, you know what I mean? So I would love to be like the boss lady in a 007 or, some kind of Esther, eccentric, woman intergalactic something or
I see you like in that Devil Wears Prada type of, because you do bad so good. You know what I mean? It's like you can really do that where we still love the character.
well, here's the thing. Most people that we know and love have character flaws that really friggin' annoy us. There is no perfect person, And so if a person makes bad choices or choices that are selfish or narcissistic or whatever, I just try to make sure that you kind of understand a little bit of who that person is and why they might be making a bad choice, Um, and it seems to work and people, it's like, oh, y'all are cheering me on,
Yes,
you
yes.
know. So I don't know. It's fun. It's like 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 you in a chemistry lab and you just coming up with some smack to, just put out there in the world. And it's fun. And you just kind of see what resonates with people.
Now I remember in 1989, the Women of Brewster Place. I'm old enough to remember that. And I felt like when I watched you ladies that, because we don't know what goes on behind the scenes, right? But we only see what plays out
Yes.
on the screen that we get to watch. And watching it felt like there was a real genuine sisterhood on that set. Is that accurate? What I felt like I was receiving, was that true?
Yes. And I think thanks to Oprah, loving this book and pulling it off the shelf and making it into a 2-part TV movie, we all, each character, I think they cast it so very well, so that each character was embodied by the actresses and we were all committed. Though if you really look at it, we're hardly ever all together until we go to make our big statement.
Lynn, I have to take a quick break. Soulmates, you stay right where you are because we have a lot more to talk about with Miss Lynn Whitfield when we return. Don't go away. Welcome back to Get Into It with Tami Roman. This, of course, is Fox Soul. And if you missed the top half of this interview, shame on you, because I am here with the extremely talented, beautiful, full of gems that y'all need to catch, okay? Miss Lynn Whitfield is in the building. Listen, Lynn, continuing the conversation. Now, Hollywood is a very competitive place. Like, you're up against your sisters all the time at every audition and things of that nature. How have you been able to find sisters and mentors that you could trust help navigate you through your career?
I don't know. I think it's just all a blessing. You lead with the best you've got. And, I think it's important to understand that every story isn't for you, that there are roles that, other people are destined to play. And I think it's also important to know that the best work happens when you're working toe to toe and working together. So I've been really fortunate that I was able to, get nuggets of wisdom from Cicely Tyson, and one of the last things she told me, she said, okay, you're doing really wonderful work. It's so good. Now you have to figure out how to make it work for you, specifically for you, and I had time to sit with.
How did you interpret that? Like, what did that actually translate to for you?
Well, Cicely dropped that nugget. It was 2 years ago. And girl, I'm still trying to figure it out. I'm like, okay. I'm like, okay, Cicely said. So obviously, like, what I'm doing is good, but I've got to. So I interpreted that, I've been able to contribute to many stories for many others. It's time for me to produce some of my own. It's time for me to enhance stories that are my own. I personally, and Cicely probably didn't mean it this way, but I interpreted it that it's time for me to connect more to my audience as myself, because people don't know my voice. They know Lady Mae Greenleaf's voice and Brandy Webb's voice and Ceely's voice and Roz Batiste from East Bayou. But to know me, because then I think people find out, well, oh, she's really more earthy than that. She's not, she's, warmer. I'm like, well, what the hell did y'all, I went to acting school.
Right.
It's called acting, doggone it. So yeah, but I was able to sit, the women who went before me, like Ruby Dee and Cicely Tyson and Diane Carroll and Josephine Permise, who was a Broadway actress for the most part, to listen to their victories and maybe, things that they might have done differently. It gave me a lot of help when it came to raising Grace and being a working mom, which I'm sure you experienced. They asked to interview me for a book that they're doing about actresses. And the final question, and I was surprised at myself at what it was what legacy do you want to leave? And what jumped out of me is that when I leave here, people actually know who I am.
Right.
Not just the characters I play. So social media is really key. Doing things like what I'm doing right now, because those DMs might have come and I might not have even noticed or known what a DM is. Damn it. I'm like, what is that little signal? Oh, that's what that means.
Right.
Somebody's trying to talk to me.
Yeah.
There might be a fabulous date going on in there. I missed all of that. So yes, just being more accessible through social media and also, like this over the quarantine, I've always loved skirts. And so I started making them and sharing my process and expressing expressing that and, just talking to, so it's good for me because I don't want to be the characters that I've played were privileged that I carried them. I don't want to be walking around, I want people to know who the woman is who carried these roles. I was privileged to carry them, but it goes both ways. And I think at the end of the day, it's really important that that they know me, because I think that will be inspiring for young actresses coming on, that is better, that they know I make mistakes, I have regrets, I'm a real person, and a real person did this work that you might like, or, or played that bad girl, but gosh, when we talk to her, that's not who she is. Right. It's called acting school, taking classes, thinking of roadmaps, get so yeah, so that's one way that I'm taking Cicely's advice. And the other way is crafting stories that I'm going to go out and pitch and see if I can sell them and be, at the helm, in partnership with others who've, been doing this for much longer that I can learn from and tell some stories that I care about.
That you care about. I love that. And I think that's so important because there's no reason why we aren't making our own content, and putting our stories out there. I was going to say,
people are though, but women are, they're doing it now. It is more, I'm inspired. I'm inspired by Viola. I'm inspired by Regina. I'm inspired by what other actresses are doing. So
that's what I mean, is that it's out there and we're witnessing it. So we've got to take the bull by the horns too.
Yes. Yeah. The more, the merrier, You
thought about directing?
I have. And I think what I'm most excited about is directing actors, not directing traffic. I really think I would be a really good actors director.
I do too.
And kind of, help to actors to build this magic. So yes, I'm thinking about it. But the thing, if you are on a set with a director, you will see the director of photography wants a question answered. The costumer wants a question answered. Actors will, people are coming at you from everywhere. It's like, I still have a lot of performances left in me. So I don't know if I want to be sitting back answering everybody else's questions or having everybody get everything perfect so I can do it.
I said the same thing. I just executive producer project for the first time.
Yes.
I said, I always thought I wanted to EP something, because directing I don't like. I tried that and I don't like it. But I said, let me try the EP thing. And I said, I like just showing up, looking at my sides and being the character. I don't want to know all this budget stuff and have these meetings. I don't want it. So I totally understand that thought.
Yeah, I don't want any, like I said, I'm still like a kid in a candy store about telling stories. And I know how much work it is to set everything for a story to be great. And so I think it just it's a matter of having the right team and choosing which projects you want to do what on.
Yeah. I believe that. And I am excited if that is the road that you take. Because like here again, I feel even like, I see a lot of actors and actresses teach at institutions where they're like, they have the acting, Felicia Rashad does that. And
Felicia Rashad has just taken on being the chair of the Fine Arts Department of Howard University.
Yes.
My alma mater, that is incredible to have such an elevated, celebrated performer go in, because I'm sure it'll be more hands-on, and how creatively she will, make it an experience for young people wanting to learn a craft between, whether it be it painting or dancing or acting or whatever it is. So that's very exciting. Coaching I would do, for specific projects, or, private coaching. I think that would be that would be something that I would feel inspired about. Scene study. I love doing scene study, being able to give notes, and then they go off, and maybe a couple of weeks later we come back, or, for monologues and all that, but just sitting like, okay, here's your relaxation exercise, and here's your this and that. It's like, no, don't want to do that.
So I'm going to pry into your personal business, because, like the people wants to know, are you dating?
No, where are you? I'm waiting for him. What are you doing? You're silly. I'm keeping it together. Make yourself known. Come in.
what I'm saying. We need to find, because how long has it been, Miss Lynn?
That I've really seriously dated?
Yes.
It's been a couple of years.
Okay, so then we need to let the men's know.
And that was international dating. Well, I guess I think people, I don't know. The right person will be fearless and step on in. And at this point in my life, I want a joy, fun, companionship, somebody to hang out with, that kind of thing.
Yeah. No, I feel you.
Because I mean, if you don't have all that, and if you can't be friends, how can you be anything else?
True. Would you take a younger man?
Starting, and fabulous dinners and fabulous trips and fun.
Would you take a younger man?
If they have it all together, darling, at least 75% of it, at least enough that, it's not problematic very often, right. So yeah, younger is fine because I think spirits meet, right. I think if somebody's spirit matches yours, a sense, depending on who you are, like a sense of fun, having a strong, a foundation that, like, okay, the basics are, you're all good, and we're not thinking about, how you're gonna make it in the world or any of that. I can't do any of that younger man thing. But yeah, it just depends on, what brings out the best in you, and you bring out the best in them, and, have fun.
Yeah, because I got me a younger man, and that he's 17 years younger than me, and that was the best thing I could have ever did for a lot of reasons.
You're having, absolutely. I mean, sometimes my daughter will say, well, Mom, what about this? And I'm like, oh my God, Grace, I'm not going to be checking for their diabetes or looking at the blood pressure machine and taking, no, I'm not. It's just, I can't imagine it, so I've seen some of the most beautiful relationships with big age differences. And even, well, look at Tina Turner and her husband.
Yes.
I mean, if you look at that documentary, I mean, that is the most inspiring love story, So it's where spirits meet. And where energy levels and all of that, where you keep going. Because I don't think anybody ever wants to be helping somebody get on their walker. But if you have to, after many, many years, but so I find a 20-year difference can be unnoticeable and very cool.
Yes. Okay. I thank you so much for coming to get into it. But before I let you go,
yeah.
Have fun with every guest, and we do something called Tammy's Fast Five. So okay. I'm going to throw out 5 questions, and you just say the first thing that comes to your mind.
Okay.
Where was the most fun you had on set?
In Budapest, Hungary. The banana dance, Josephine Baker, the one time that I could be on stage topless and not have anybody say I was, ratchet.
Yes. Understood.
It was so freeing.
Who would you want to play your on-screen daughter?
At this, my God, I've had so many great ones. They all getting older now. I think I could have fun with Yara. That would be fun now.
I think that'd be good.
Yes.
We talked about Sisterhood. Who's a fellow Black actress who you feel is doing great work and you want to shout out?
How many? Just how many? I don't know. I think that Andra Day did an amazing job. That she let Billie Holiday embody,
yes.
Yes. She allowed that permission to go. Shout out to that performance. Incredible. So if I can only have one for the performances of the year, that one I feel was just bold and without being
Inhibited.
she didn't push it. It was just there. It's like, here I am. Take
Yeah.
it or leave it. This is who she was. Loved it.
Last one. What's your favorite sex position?
Actually, on top and very tight.
There's a couple. On top and very tight. Now listen, if you don't know, you better ask somebody. That was Miss Lynn Whitfield. Lynn, how can everybody keep up with you?
Oh, that's the last question you're gonna ask. That is so bad. Okay, so it's at Miss Lynn Whitfield across all platforms.
I love it. Thank you so much for joining me today. I'm sure the soulmates, listen, y'all heard a lot about Miss Lynn today, and she's willing to open up and let you in even more. So make sure you go follow her at Miss Lynn Whitfield across all social media platforms. You guys, soulmates, stick around. We've got some questions that I've got answers to. Ask Tammy is up next on Fox Soul.